But it'll be repeated by backbenchers as if they discovered it. They didn't. I did, and I want to be the first to convey it to you. We have this myth, as the Democrats promote open borders and the Republicans do as well, that Americans aren't willing to do jobs that get their hands dirty. That Americans aren't willing to do jobs that are, that are maybe considered unprofessional or low-skilled or unskilled. I want to give you a few crucial statistics from the United States Census Bureau. That's right, the United States Census Bureau. Under Barack, Milhouse, Benito, Obama, Hussein, whatever. I read this to Mr. Producer. I read this to Mr. Call Screener before we came on the air. They were stunned. So effective has the lie been about who does what work. The Census Bureau has identified what it classifies as 472 civilian occupations. This will be in the book. It's a very tiny part of it, but it will be in the book. Of those occupations, 6 are considered majority immigrant, legal and illegal. But they comprise 1% of the total workforce. But jobs that are stereotypically thought to comprise mainly immigrants actually comprise mostly American citizens. You ready for this? From your United States Census Bureau. Maids and housekeepers are 51% United States citizens. 51% of the maids and housekeepers in the United States are American citizens, not immigrants. 58% of taxi drivers in America are American citizens. 58%. 63% of butchers in America are American citizens. This one will stun you, given the propaganda we've heard from John McCain and others. 64% of landscapers and grounds workers in the United States are American citizens. 64%. 66% of construction workers are American citizens. Here's another one. Porters, bellhops, and concierges, 72% are American citizens. And this last one, 73% of janitors are American citizens. Oh, they're doing jobs Americans won't do. Nonsense. Absolute, unadulterated nonsense. I am sick and tired of the pro-amnesty, pro-borders crowd bad-mouthing American citizens and what American citizens will and will not do. 16.5 million citizens have jobs in the 67 occupations comprised of a significant percentage of immigrants. That's 25% or more. In other words, millions of Americans work in jobs that are incorrectly but widely considered immigrant-type jobs. And these high immigrant occupations are mainly lower-wage jobs requiring little formal education. So notably, citizens in high immigrant occupations have a much higher unemployment rate than citizens who work in jobs with a smaller percentage of immigrants. In other words, even though American citizens comprise a majority or a vast majority, the percentage of workers in these different areas, the unemployment rate is higher in these areas for American citizens because of unfettered, open immigration. In other words, more Americans might be working in these positions. So next time you hear a talk show host, a television commentator, Jorge Ramos, Luis Gutierrez, or anybody else go on and on and on about who cleans your house, who cuts your lawns, who drives the taxis, who are the janitors, and so forth and so on, your response should be, well, actually, most of them are American citizens. Most of them are American citizens doing jobs Americans need to do. That is not to say that immigrants don't play a role in our economy. It is to say that open borders, amnesty, unfettered immigration, mostly illegal immigration, is destructive to the American worker. It's not a contribution to our economy. And it's particularly so because some people who come into this country are drawn not by these jobs, but by the welfare state. The evidence proves it. The evidence proves it. Think about our own country. Forget about immigrants, legal or illegal, for a moment. American citizens, more and more, are drawn into the welfare state. They're sucked into the welfare state. So unskilled, low-skilled, poor, illiterate, sick, what have you, people who come into this country, some may want work, but when their Mexican consulates and other consulates, when the Obama administration encouraged them to get identifications, to go on Social Security, to get Medicare, in some cases Medicaid, the Earned Income Tax Credit, Well, of course, it's a matter of common sense, really, isn't it? And logic. To do exactly that. To do exactly that. But I wanted you to know that when you hear time and time and time again that so many of these low-skilled or unskilled jobs go to foreigners who are willing to do them because Americans aren't willing to do them, that is, American citizens, it's simply not true. The Census Bureau tells us it's not true. Last time I checked, that's the government. Last time I checked in the last 6 years, that's the Obama administration. I will be writing about this and a hell of a lot more in this book. It's not going to come out until end of summer, early fall, because I'm only about 2/3, 3/4 there. But I'm telling you, the information I'm coming across is absolutely fascinating. And I'm not even going to tell you the topic of the book, the title of the book, or any of that right now, because you're going to get book exhausted. So, but this I needed to speak to. This couldn't wait, in my view, because the Republicans are already doing exactly what we told you they would do. Having surrendered the power of the purse and pushed this phony omnibus budget bill, we're only funding all the government except HHS. Now they're going to fund HHS. They're going to fund Obama's unconstitutional amnesty. Congress will give its imprimatur, its seal of approval, a certification to the president that he is free to seize constitutional power from the legislative branch and exercise it at will. And that's exactly what he's going to do, because that's exactly what he's being encouraged to do. This is why when John Boehner says, look at my voting record, it's conservative. We don't need to look at your voting record. We're looking at your record as Speaker. You're a disaster, an unmitigated disaster. So's the other guy, McConnell, in the Senate, unmitigated disaster. Now the argument is, well, we have 54 senators. We need 60 in order to get over the filibuster. Well, if that's their mentality, they actually need 67 to override a presidential veto. They've never had 67 before. So they keep moving the bar. They keep raising it and raising it and raising it. You give them 9 new senators, 54. Oh, we can't really do anything. So the best that can be said is it's not Harry Reid's Senate. Well, that's not good enough, given who the President of the United States is. That's not good enough at all. And when we're talking about low-skilled and unskilled jobs and the flood of low-skilled and unskilled people into this country, even though Americans still do a majority of that work, they're hanging on by their fingernails. Because low-skilled and unskilled foreigners, many of them get paid under the table. And this affects, in this country, mostly young people with limited skills and poor people with limited skills. Even more directly, it affects our metropolitan areas hugely, and the black community, and people here legally in the Latino community, Asian community, and so forth, hugely. It is too bad that the leadership of the Republican Party has neither the knowledge or the wherewithal, intellectually or otherwise, to make the case to the American people that the Republican Party stands for American citizens, for legal immigration, that the Republican Party stands with blue-collar workers, low-skilled workers, and young people. And there's more to talk about in this, too, but I'm not going to do it until months and months and months from now. There's much more. And no, the book is not on immigration, by the way. That's been written, even though I'm finding these remarkable gems as I do the research. I'll give you these numbers one more time, then we're going to move on. 51% of maids and housekeepers in this country are American citizens. 58% of taxi drivers in this country are American citizens. 64% of landscapers and grounds workers are American citizens. 66% of construction workers are American citizens. 72% of porters, bellhops, and concierges, American citizenships. These are the categories given by the U.S. Census Bureau. And 73% of janitors are American citizens. Americans doing jobs Americans need to do. And I am sick and tired of these elitist, overfed, pot-bellied politicians in Washington, D.C. telling us that Americans are lazy, that Americans won't work, that Americans are this and that and the other. Well, they do everything possible to drive out the American workforce. I'll be right back.